Hi everybody, I'm Big Bird, and today I'm going to explain to you guys the theory of trickle-down economics. But before we begin, let's look and see what trickle-down economics means. For the sake of our discussion, trickle-down economics means if you let rich people keep more of their money, it will help the rest of society. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Okay, so that's the theory that we're going to try to explain today. So let's first of all introduce our cast. Over here we have Mr. Government. Nom 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 nom. I love to eat cookies. Over here we have people who work at companies. In the back here we have people that are unemployed and wishing they could get a job. Over here we have a factory. In this case, this is a little pig factory. Over here, these are green businesses. These businesses are very politically popular right now because they do things like recycle and use green coal and solar power and things like that. So they're very appealing to everybody. Over here, we have our industrious young businesswoman who owns a business and is really wanting to expand her business. Over here, we have the person whose money is going to try to trickle down. He's a rich person. Look at all the money he's got. And then over here, we have Mr. Banker, Mr. Expert. He's an expert at financial matters, and he's also a banker. So if you go to him, he's pretty smart. And over here, we have our voters. We've got our red, we've got our blue. They're all there together, happily getting ready to vote. So, let's our story begin. Now, since I've gotten a lot of bad press lately, I've decided to sit this one out as a participant. I take no side in this discussion. I just wanted to take a chance to introduce everybody. So thank you, and without ado, let our story begin. Okay, this concept of trickle-down economics says that the government can take Mr. Rich Person's money and they could use it to benefit people. And they could do actually a better job of taking care of that money than could Mr. Rich Person. So, and Mr. Rich Person goes, no, 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 I want to keep my money. I like my money. I want to invest it and I want to do all these smart things with it and I just want to keep it. And the government says, no, 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 we could use that for green businesses. We could use that for committees. We could give that to poor people. Think of all the good things we could do with it. And so here's where our conflict begins. So let's first of all think about what would Mr. Rich Person do with that money. Now, Mr. Rich Person, he lives a pretty good life. In fact, it takes him quite a bit to live year by year. It takes him this much. But let's pretend that he has $1 million in the bank. And that's what we're going to use to define rich person. He's got $1 million. So he spends quite a bit, but he's got enough left over that he's got $1 million. So we have to ask ourselves, hey, what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with all that money there? Are you going to hide it under your pillow? Are you going to hide it in the basement? No, sir. I'm a smart guy. I earned all this money not by being stupid, by being smart. I'm going to put it in the bank. So I'm going to put this money over here in the bank. And then while it's in the bank, Mr. Banker here is going to think about, I've got all this money. What could I do with it? I know. I'm going to loan it out to people that want to make money. Like this business lady over here. She's going to say, hey, can I borrow some of that money? I've got this really good business idea. I'd really like to, expand. I want to make some rubber piggies, and people will want to buy them, and it's a great idea. Do you have good financial records? Do you have a good business plan? Have you done any market research to prove that people want little rubber bunnies or little rubber piggies? Why, yes, I have. And here are my statistics, and here's everything you need. See, it's a great idea. A lot of people want money. You really have to stand up above the crowd. I'm not sure if you do. Let me think about it. All right, so while they're thinking, let's go back over here and think what else this rich person might do with their money. I've got lots of money. I think I'll just put 25 cents in, or $250,000 in the bank, and then the rest of it, you know what? My Aunt Susie has a friend who's starting a rubber piggy bank. I think I'm going to give her a 25 cents. She's really smart. She's offered to give me some of the piggies and some of the profit. So I'm going to just loan her some of that money, and I've got my experts hard at work making sure that she is going to do a great job. And I'm no sucker, and if it's not a good idea, I will know. And if I make profit, then bye. I'm not going to just give it to just anybody, though. Now over here, these green companies, they're saying, hey, I say you've got some money. Would you like to give some to me? Well, I don't think green technology is very profitable. I've looked at your figures, and it just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. And I've also gotten some advice from my expert here, and he says, it's not really that profitable. It sure sounds good on paper, but in terms of absolute profit, there's just not enough demand for it right now, so it doesn't make a lot of money. But this girl here, now she's got a pretty good business plan. I can see people really want to buy those rubber piggies, so that seems like the better investment. So I'm going to give her some money. And then the bank, they could have given her money, but they're going to look at people's paperwork and they'll give them money. So what has happened to Mr. Rich Person's money? Some of it is in the bank right here, and the bank person is going to loan it out to people, and those people are going to hopefully do smart things with it. If the bank loan person has done their job right, then they're going to make sure that they loan it out wisely to people who are going to start businesses or buy homes and do things like that. He's also going to give some investment to some small businesses and places that are going to try to create jobs. And he's going to really listen to their story and make sure he's convinced that they're going to do a great job. And if they're not, then he's going to go on to the next company until he finds some that's really smart. And so this rich person, instead of just shoving all that money under his blanket, is spreading it out in the smartest way he can, trying to make more money with it. And then it turns out he's a pretty good judge of character, and Mrs. Businesswoman starts up a factory. Sure enough, here she is, kicking out the rubber piggies. See, rubber piggy, making lots of rubber piggies. Now, it's time to hire. Things are doing so good. She's got all these people working for her. These employees are just hard at work making little piggies. And so the world is a happier place with more little rubber piggies. And so now, things are good. In fact, there's more potential employees back here saying, oh my goodness, I hope that business does good. I hope they can make even more rubber piggies because I would love to have a job. And so Mr. Rich Person here goes over every month or so and says, can I see the books? How are things going? How's my money going? Are you making money? Are things going good? She goes, oh yeah, look at all these rubber piggies I'm making. Everybody's so happy. I got employees. We're doing good. I'm making profit. You've got some profit too. See, look, you've got extra profit here. And so the rich person goes, that's great. You're really doing good. And she goes, yeah, in fact, I'm doing so good. If I had some more money, I could even do better. I could even make you more money. And so he looks at the books and he says, I believe her story. It sounds pretty good to me. It makes a lot of sense. My experts all agree. I'm going to give her even more money. That's a smart investment. So now everybody's happy. She gets more money, and then she gets to hire some new employees. And now she's increased her workforce. More people have jobs. More people have rubber piggies. Mr. Rich Person makes more money, and everybody's happy. Okay, so there's one scenario where the rich person gets to keep his money, and of course he doesn't keep it under his pillow. He invested in other companies. Let's look at another scenario. Let's put things right back how they were. We've got our unemployed people. Mrs. Business Person, she's potentially trying to start a business, but not yet. These employees, they're not hired yet. This factory is not a factory yet. All right, starting over. Under this second scenario, the government wants a piece of that money because they want to do good things with it. So Mr. Government goes, I see you got a lot of money there. That's a lot too much. In fact, I think I'll have some of that. I think maybe I'll have about like half of it. And yeah, I'm going to do some smart things with that. Yep. I'm going to, I could do a few things with it. Let's say the first thing I could do is I could just go find some poor people and just give them that money. We'll call it socialism, welfare. The rich need to give a little more to help out the poor. So let's go over here and let's go give it to these people who are unemployed. They're looking for a job and they need some money. So there, let's give them this money, and in fact, I think they're really going to like me. I think next time it's time to vote, I think they're really going to appreciate that, the fact that I gave them this money. And so these rich people are like, yay, goody, 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 nom, 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 gobble, gobble, gobble. Oops, I ate all the money. Took me a couple of months or maybe a year or two, but now the money's all gone. What? Where's the rest of the money? Where's the rest of the money? Where's it coming from? Where'd the money go? I need more money. Well, it's kind of too bad there's not a factory there in the middle where they could work, because factories keep putting out money. Factories just keep putting out money. They keep putting out rubber piggies that everybody likes. But instead, we don't have a factory. Go away, factory. All we have is money that gets gobbled up. Nom, 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 gobble, gobble. And then we have two people looking around. Where's my money? Where's my stuff? Wish I had some more stuff. And the government's like, well, I think there's a little bit left over here in the business, Mr. Businessman's. Maybe I'll take some more of his, and then I'll give it to you, and then you can vote for me. Well, that's one scenario of what the government might do with it. But some people frown on that. Sometimes the electorate, the people say, oh, you shouldn't just give away all that free money to them. And the government says, well, I still want to take that money, but this time I'll try to be smart with it. I'm going to invest it in green businesses. Of course, they might invest it in, committees to research business, or they might invest it in urban renewal, or building up blighted neighborhoods to make houses good living for people. But just for the sake of argument, let's say they give it to some green businesses that are going to help recycle things, and they're going to use methanol to burn and make electricity. They're going to use green technologies and solar power. It'll be great. In fact, the electorate thinks it sounds so fancy and so good that they're going to want to vote for me next time, and I'm going to make another $100,000 for 4 more years when I get reelected. Yay! But it turns out that these businesses already talked to Mr. Rich Person. They're like, hey, Mr. Rich Person, can I have some money? That was a little while back. Mr. Rich Person said, nope, I wish I could give you some money, but your business plan isn't very good. Just doesn't make any sense to me. You're not very profitable as compared to Mrs. Businesswoman here. Yeah, she's got a good plan. So Mr. Green Business says, I need some money, and how am I going to get that? So what they do is they say, they do some research, and they figure out what the public likes to hear. The government likes to hear things like using renewable resources, solar power, wind power, things like that. And if I call myself all those green terms, then the government will be more likely to give me money, and then it's good for the government, it's good for me. The only person it's not good for is Mr. Rich Person, whose money, that's whose money it is. It's their money. And it's also not good for these people over here, because they wanted a job. And it turns out that this green business is not really a good company, because the rich people have their experts look at it and they already know it's not a good company, and that's why they didn't invest with it. If this had been a good company, these green companies, then then this guy right here would have said, sure, have some money. I want some profit. Have my money. And then whenever you make a profit, I'll get some of it. That seems fair. But instead they said, nope, you guys don't have a good plan. You can't have any money. And so what happened when the government took away the rich person's money to give it over here is they kept it from going to this nice businesswoman over here who had a really good plan. And so now the money went to a bad idea instead of a good idea. And when it goes to a bad idea, you don't get the factory, you don't get all these employees working. And so now you've got a lot of people just wishing they had jobs, wishing they had rubber piggies, but they don't. So let's also think about Mr. Government. Back in college, Mr. Government had an assignment, and the teacher said, hey, I want you to pick some investments and then see how good they do. And if they do really good, you'll get an A+ in class. If they do just sort of good, you'll get a B. But if they don't do very good, you'll get a C or maybe even a D if they lose money. And so he goes, okay, and he gets out the newspaper and he looks and says, oh, these companies look good. They look fancy. They look sharp. They look smart. And so he tells the teacher, I bought it in these companies, these green types of companies and different things like that. And so he spends about an hour on it, and then he goes home and forgets all about it. And then it turns out that his companies don't do very good. So then the teacher says the next day, oh yeah, by the way, I'm going to take all of your school tuition and all of your money that you've been saving up, and I'm going to tie that in with your investment. In other words, this assignment is now a real investment. If you mess up, you're going to lose all that money yourself. Not just for the class, but you're really going to lose that money. So what does Mr. Government do back when he was in college? Oh my goodness, that's really my money? Oh my gosh. So then he goes over and he talks to an expert. What should I do? What should I spend my money? What do I do? How do I make a lot of money back? I've really got to do good with this. It's really my money. If I lose it, I lose everything. Oh no. Mr. Smart Guy says, well, I'll tell you what. Over here is this really smart lady. She's got a good company idea. That's what I would do. I'd put it right there. He's like, okay. I don't want to get messed over. I want to make money. So whenever it's his money, and whenever he's got something to lose, he gives it to the smart lady. So, but the reality is, the truth is, Mr. Government just wants to get reelected. He doesn't care if Mrs. Businesswoman makes a lot of money, because that doesn't look good. Pig factories just don't look good to the electorate. Do you guys like pig factories? No, I don't like them. No, pig factories are dumb. Do you guys like green energies, that like wind power? Yay, I love them. Green power, green energy. Yay, I love it. Goody, so you'll vote for me? Yay. So I make a lot of money? Yay. I'm happy. I made $100,000 this year. So, Mr. Government, he could give away your money wherever he wants. He doesn't really care. He just wants to get these people to be happy with him so that they will give him another 4 years of $100,000 a year. And everybody's happy. And then poor Mr. Business Guy here laments his lost coins. Poor Mrs. Businesswoman laments her lost fortune, laments that her factory will never be. She laments there will not be any rubber piggies to pass out to the world. Her workers lament, it was such a good opportunity. I love to work in piggy factories, but now I'll never get that chance. And these potential workers, as they drive by that empty building, they say, I wish I could have worked there. It was my dream job. Little piggy factory, my dream job. That will never be. And so, friends, thank you all for your time. This has been the tale of trickle-down economics. We have a choice. One is to let Mr. Rich Person decide where his money will be spent. He will agonize over the decision because he worked so hard for this money. If he loses it, he will be heartbroken. And if it's spent well and he makes profit, he will be delighted. He will spend hours. He will talk to experts. He will pore over this decision with all of his heart to make sure that it brings back money. And he will only invest it in companies that he believes will bring back the most money. And if he's not in the mood to make those decisions himself, he'll give it to Mr. Expert. And Mr. Expert will give it to people that will manage it to the best of their ability in his opinion. And he's pretty smart. The other scenario is the government. The government takes the money and they just give it straight to the poor people or people who don't have jobs. And then the money just gets spent, and then there's nothing to make more money because all the money is wasted. Or he gives it to companies that were passed over by all the experts and all the smart people because they look good and they sound good in politics, but they're just not good business sense. And so they're not going to be very profitable. And so under one scenario, everybody wins. Under the other scenario, where the government gets involved, everybody loses. So there you are. There's the tale of trickle-down economics. Thank you for your time, boys and girls. Until next time.